Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to Take the Black Live, your one and only stop for all the sci-fi, fantasy, movie, TV, information, news, and editorial commentary you can stand. I am Dan Selke, editor of winneriscoming.net, and I am here with Mia Johnson of dorksideoftheforce.com to talk about some hot topics today. We do have some relevant information for you, which I'm very excited about. Mia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I told you today just like flew by. I can't even believe it's 4 o'clock over here.
Yeah, not bad. I like when that happens. When it's you don't need to think about it and it just happens. Julie, hello. Your prize is still on the way in the mail. Just takes a while to get to Australia. Apologies about that, but it is on the way. All right, Mia, let's dive in today because you have an early review of a very hotly anticipated new COVID blockbuster. It's not a movie theater, but it is coming into your home. The Snyder Cut, aka Zack Snyder's Justice League, releases tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Thursday. Yep.
Yep, tomorrow. What a strange story this thing has. What a bizarre twisting, turning things has happened where Justice League comes out 2017. It's a movie. Zack Snyder directs like half of it, has to leave, family emergency. Joss Whedon takes over. It's 2 hours long. Like, nobody likes it. At the most it gets is a meh. And then there's like a years-long campaign by fans over the internet to get the Snyder Cut released, this hidden, epic, enormous version of the movie that preserves the director's original intent. And it happened. They gave him tens of millions of dollars. He put it together, and now it's almost here. And Mia, you've seen it. The question is, was it worth it? Did it live up to the release the Snyder Cut hype? I have not seen it, by the way. Mia has, so this will be interesting. I am curious to hear your thoughts.
So for me personally, and you read my review,
it did on now winneriscoming.net.
Yes, it's hard for me to say it was a mixed bag because my initial reaction is just no, it doesn't live up to the hype, and no, it was not worth 4 hours of my time, which I split between like 2 sessions.
It is 4 hours. That's a good point to point out. This is a 4-hour movie, ladies and gentlemen. Long-ass movie.
Now, the good thing about this is that because the movie technically already came out, I don't really have to tiptoe around spoilers. There's some stuff that I might want to leave, of for people. But for the most part, this was, to me, pretty much the same movie. And it's weird that I've seen other outlets say, this is a sweeping, grand epic. It, crushes the old movie and, just completely obliterates, what happened in the last one. But just watching it, and I'm not a huge, deeply into DC lore. I do like most of it, but just watching, I was like, this feels like the same movie with just more stuff crammed into it for no good reason. So it left me half disappointed, but half a little bit excited towards the back half of the movie.
Gotcha. I mean, it is interesting to hear you say that because I have surveyed a bunch of the other reviews going out, about it, and they seem quite positive. Like, this is a good tomato meter rating. The videos I've watched, as I've read, seem often fairly frothing, at least the ones that I've read. And then there have been others that are a little more leveled. And I haven't seen it, although I do wonder if I'm looking at one of those situations where people are riding a wave of hype into a ecstatic reaction or something, and then it'll come back.
But I'm like, how can you sit on the couch? Like, I'll explain to you. I sat on the couch. I was really excited.
Take us there.
It was dark. I had the big screen up. Now it is in the IMAX 4:3 aspect ratio, but you'll get used to it eventually. And in the first hour, for me, it just kind of dragged on. It was still the same. Batman is doing his recruiting. He's looking for some of the characters. We still have that Wonder Woman bank heist scene that kind of sets her up. I think me and whoever the Entertainment Weekly reviewer was had it best, because there's this one scene, and it's not a spoiler.
Not Hibbard, was it?
No, it wasn't. But there was this one scene. Now I'm rethinking, but where Batman is going to see Aquaman in this little, whatever sort of place he's at, Nordic sort of place. Aquaman jumps into the water, and these like three very blonde women step up. One like grabs his shirt and sniffs it, and then they start singing a hymn. And Bruce Wayne is just kind of there, kind of feeling like me, like what is going on and what am I watching? So I think Corey has the name of so it's not James Hibbert, but yeah, I was just kind of like,
thank you, Corey.
Yeah, I was like, what am I watching and why is this scene necessary? There were some good things that were added, like the Cyborg backstory. I didn't know what Cyborg did at all in the first movie. So I think this really gave justice, no pun intended, to Ray Fisher, who obviously went through all that horrible stuff to begin with.
Right.
And so I think this cut is kind of justice for him. But for the first half, it was very, very slow. Now, do you want my second half review, or do you have a question?
Yeah. How about the second half? I mean, so the first half, you're given like
yeah. So after that,
it sounds like it got better.
Yeah. So I did not want to turn it back on after my first viewing. I was like, no, I have to watch this. I have to write the review.
You do have to watch this.
The last 2 hours, which is bonkers to say, the last 2 hours of the movie is where it picked up, because it was just more of that, kind of nonsense action stuff, which I'm into. I said, you just kind of turn off your brain and you're like, all right, Batman is punching somebody and Wonder Woman is using her lasso. I don't really like the reviving Superman part anyway. That I also think was kind of whatever. But the action was fun. I like seeing them as a team and working together. That's their strongest, is when they're being superheroes and coming together. I think they got that right. And in the finale, they did really well to kind of put a twist on the ending, because the last time they just like kicked Steppenwolf's butt and they called it a day. And in this one, it's actually a little bit more challenging. And I think that should be one of those things I don't really reveal. But yeah, that was fine. And also this relationship that they set up between Darkseid and Steppenwolf. Darkseid was not like this huge menacing character. Steppenwolf just kind of reported to them. But I did like where they were going with that relationship as well, as kind of like, to me, it was like Thanos was Darkseid, and then Steppenwolf was somebody like Loki, who's kind of doing his bidding and just, they set all that up just to be like, and now the Snyderverse is canceled, so we're just getting your hopes up for
yeah, of course, that's the other thing. Like, so some of that sounds like it's good, it's interesting, but it's also interesting in a way that will never be followed up on, because this is over. Unless, I mean, okay, do you think will be enough interest to, I mean, frankly, I never thought the Snyder Cut would happen in the first place. So now, what if fans are so rabid about this and love it so much, they release the Snyder Universe, and they will an entire cinematic universe back from the grave into being? Like, are we at that point yet?
I think they could be on track to take elements from from some of those things that they set up, because there were a lot of loose ends. There was that rumored cameo that, that's real, and
I'm
never
so tired of rumored cameos.
Yeah, that was actually real, though. I won't say who, if anyone wants to kind of, not be surprised, but that kind of gets dropped because we never see it happen, or at least have not seen it happen in these last 3 years. There's still that Lex Luthor scene at the end of the movie. They kept that around.
Yippee.
And I feel like and of course, like the Darkseid thing, which they made it seem like he was going to be like Thanos, and he kind of had this fine, I'll do it myself moment. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. Again, if only it were to happen. So it's possible that I think especially the introduction of Darkseid, people might be like, we want to see what comes out of this, and they might find a way to kind of work it into their next films.
Gotcha. And before we move on, let's have a word from our sponsor to break up all this discussion. Music, please. All right. You're in a wood. It's dark, overgrown, and crowded with angry brambles and thorns that bite and pierce. If only you had a weapon to cut through the oppressive thicket, and let the forest breathe again. And lo, one appears. The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Trusted by millions of men worldwide, Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your sensitive grooming needs. If you're interested in joining the Brotherhood of the Forest Clearing, we have an exclusive offer, 20% off plus free shipping with the code FANSIDED20 at manscaped.com. And the mighty lawnmower is not all Manscaped has to offer. There is also Manscaped deodorant to keep the sacred forest fragrant, as well as Manscaped toner to tone it. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code FANSIDED20, the code FANSIDED20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code FANSIDED20. Excellent. All right, so it sounds like you more or less enjoyed it. Would you say that it was an improvement over the original, at least?
Oh, geez. My caveat would be if they kept the length but switched out the ending, it would be an improvement. To me, I can't give it my, full seal of approval because of all the stuff stacked before it finally gets interesting.
Gotcha.
There's another thing where Entertainment Weekly quotes as I wrap up, at the end of their story, they say Dark Side. I looked it up. It is because they were saying Dark Side over and over. I thought it was Dark Seed too, as Corey was kind of saying in the chat. But I think it's either him or Steppenwolf who says, this is the end. And the writer goes, there was still 1 hour left in the movie. It's like, that was brilliant. And if you're a fan of things not wrapping up and ending, boy, is this the movie for you, because it goes on and on and on and on. Just when you thought it was over, you can give him a round of applause. No, there's more and there's more. And that's when I was like, okay, come on, let's wrap it up already. So
I'm curious to see how it does. I'm curious to see people's reactions to it. I'm curious to see. I want to get like a year out and look back on all this and have that hindsight and wonder, was this the thing we should have done? But we'll have to wait for that. I wonder if I'll watch it. Probably not, actually. Now that I feel like I've gotten it.
I do recommend. I would recommend people.
Discourse.
I was gonna say, I recommend people see at least that end scene. Like, if anything, see how they changed the finale, because that to me was worth it. But yeah, otherwise it felt like the same movie to me. So I don't know. Other people felt different, but that's how I felt.
All right, and Mia, the Snyder Cut wasn't the only very exciting upcoming superhero program that you watched. You also got to watch, and I'm not gonna lie that I'm not jealous about this. You got to watch the first episode, I believe, of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, coming out this Friday. Am I right?
Yes, that's right. Yes, just
first of all, like, who are you talking to that you can get these? Like, I'm not watching this. Why aren't I watching this?
I don't know.
That's a rhetorical question. Yeah. It's fine.
It's like I would also like to know how did this happen? But
anyway,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I will let you kind of lead this discussion because Disney has placed, some embargoes on reviews. Just reviews. These might be reactions. They didn't say you can't ask me yes or no questions. So if we want to tiptoe around this, I'll be happy to maybe, share some thoughts.
So we're going to try to talk about it just a little bit. Yeah. And if the stream just goes down immediately, you all know what happened.
Yeah. Disney
the mouse got in here.
Are watching.
All right, Mia, did you enjoy the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes. Yes, my answer is yes.
Good. Are you excited? Is it of a piece with WandaVision and the kind of the rest of this new televised universe they are exploring? Does it feel of a piece, rather?
Oh,
that's a big yes or no question. Yeah.
Yes. If you'd like to ask a follow-up, I'd be happy to add more elaboration to my yeses or nos.
I don't know if I want you to. I'm so afraid that something's going to happen. I mean, Julie asked, well, okay, fine. Julie asked, if any of you have questions for her, please ask. Simply from Julie, was it good, Mia?
Oh yeah, I will give it that. Yes.
I will say I want noted that she seems to be giving yeses in sort of like muted, not
Yeah.
overly enthusiastic yeses. And I don't know what that means. I'm just noting it. That could mean anything.
It's all about body language and tone, all those social cues you learned,
Are you, yes, give her all the yes or no questions you want, everybody in the chat. Are you excited to watch the rest of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? 6 episodes long.
Yep.
All right. So that was nodding, kind of, not the nods weren't huge. They were sort of like mid-tier nods, like, yeah, about that. So I have not seen it, and this is not an impression of mine. It's not a review. I'm getting that it seems like it's decent, but you don't have to confirm that. As Julie asked, did it have you on the edge of your seat at all? That's a no.
Leaning towards a no ish.
Okay, we'll do like one or two more because we are getting some.
Okay.
Are there characters from previous movies enough in the first episode to keep you happy? And if you can't answer that, I mean, like, plead the fifth.
I'll say yes.
Oh my God, she said yes. Okay. That could mean that it's just the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Steve Rogers confirmed. Doctor Strange confirmed. Like the entire, like Magneto's in it, finally. Good. Okay, I'll ask. So in just terms of expectations, so okay.
Yeah, I can do expectations for sure.
Yeah. So this is obviously going to be another big movement. I wonder how long it'll take for all these Marvel shows to stop feeling like events and to stop feeling like, here comes the next one. You think it's a danger? Because WandaVision came and went, and it definitely, I mean, it was a huge success. And we talked about the ending and how it was kind of like fine.
Right.
To me, I wonder if it's going to be on that sort of, again, I always come back to this. I feel like it's kind of designed for that, to be on a level. You can't have anything be too exciting because you have to set up the next thing too. Like it's got to all fit. So I wonder if that'll be an issue by the time we get to like Hawkeye.
That was the first one that came out to me because I was like, I think people were, excited for the big three: WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Loki. After that, I think there's probably more hype for the rest of the movies that have still got to come out.
Sure.
I think there's still, because they make such a big deal about this stuff anyway. Like I know Hawkeye is still going to get the same amount of press as this show. I know that Miss Marvel is going to get the same amount of press. But I mean, the thing is that, these are characters that have been less not cared about, less popular compared to these others. Maybe aside from Wanda, she has her fandom, but that's you dropped there.
I did. Sorry.
But yeah, I've always wondered about that too. Like even on the Star Wars, I'm like, at what point is this just be like, all right, new season? I'm not gonna be mad that I'm getting excited. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I was excited to see this, even though I knew coming in, and this is just speaking from watching the trailers, that it wasn't gonna be the same as WandaVision because it looks like an action, in all of the trailers. It's not like, why are they in black and white, or why are they in the 70s? So yeah, to me, it's still just kind of exciting to be like, oh, this is a new Marvel project and I can't wait to see it. That was the feeling that I got just coming into this. And it's the feeling that I always have when I watch a new Marvel project, because I'm always like, how did we get to this point already? Oh my gosh, this is it. It's actually real.
And this is delayed. Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching. I'll be curious. And we'll have one more question from Christian. Why not? Is the quality of the effects up to snuff?
Oh, yes.
Of course, right? Like they're going to nail that part. Definitely. Yeah. Marvel knows how to get nice up on the screen. They won't let you down there. Yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be curious. But I'll be on my guards. But I'll be against a mediocre whatever. I'll be in my guard, but I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah. I'll be watching on Friday next week.
We can, and I'm going to email someone, see if I can get some screeners. Like someone is giving them out. I don't know who, but I'm gonna find out, and I'm gonna knock on their door and send them a fruit basket.
Yay.
All right. By the way, if you want to listen to any of this in podcast, we are available on Google Play, wherever podcasts are available, iTunes, the Take the Black Live. Give us a listen. Give us a 5-star rating, whatever you like, whenever you like. All right, Mia. Moving on to A Song of Ice and Fire. Well, basically tinfoil hat rumors, but I thought we'd throw them on there for fun. We've been hearing a lot. I mean, whenever, frankly, like this entire show is turned into like this shared universe, cinematic universe kind of thing, because that's what everybody's making now. You got your Marvel shared universe, you got your Star Wars shared universe, you got your Avatar: The Last Airbender shared universe. They're starting to make now. They're going to try to pull that off. Who else is making one? I'm sure there are others. And there are a bunch of new Game of Thrones shows in varying stages of production. We got House of the Dragon coming up. That one's confirmed.
Mhm.
We learned they're going to make a Rabbit's Rebellion show, or at least developing one. We learned they're developing a Dunkin' Egg show. And we learned they're developing an animated drama that has the tone of the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of a decadent mystery for a minute and see if we can get to the bottom of this and discover what this means. All right, everyone at home, please take your seats and try to follow along. Notes will not be needed, but there will be a quiz afterward. So, there's a gentleman by the name of Vince Gerardis. He is George R.R. Martin's longtime manager, associate, something. Like, he develops a lot of George R. Martin's properties for TV. So he was executive producer on Game of Thrones, executive producer on House of the Dragon. He's behind, like, not behind, but like working on these like adaptations of his Wild Cards books, his new show with HBO, the Road Marks thing we talked about before. Like, he's just the guy who manages George R. R. Martin's intellectual properties and gets them from like page to screen. He's always been there for that. He has a company called Starling Inc., which I believe is short for Incorporated. And on his website, people noticed that there is, I mean, no, it lists stuff like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, the Long Night pilot that never ended up happening, that got canceled with Naomi Watts is on there as produced. And then the Wild Card show and the Roadmark show, like all things we know are in production. And there's also this weird entry for A Song of Ice and Fire with the Works. And A Song of Ice and Fire is, of course, the name of the George R. R. Martin fantasy series, which Game of Thrones is based.
Right.
And that's curious, Mia. That's curious. A Song of Ice and Fire. We saw A Song of Ice and Fire. It was called Game of Thrones. It was on HBO. It ran for 8 seasons. It ran for a straight decade. It was hugely influential. It was enormous. It allowed people to stardom. It was a big show. What's A Song of Ice and Fire? What is he making? What is it? What is it? I don't know. But I can tell you what my I can make several jumps of conclusions and tell you what it unlikely might be with no real evidence to support me.
Let's do that. That's
Okay.
the best kind of things we can do.
So it might be like a code name. Perhaps the code name for like I don't know, the Dunkin' Egg show, Robert's Blaine show, or something like that. That could happen. Or what if they're remaking it? What if they're just adapting A Song of Ice and Fire again? Again, like Game of Thrones, just like a Game of Thrones remake. What if this is the animated drama we know is coming? What if they're adapting the entirety of George R. R. Martin's books, but this time not as live action, but in animated form? Animated Red Wedding, animated Ned Stark death, animated Daenerys and her dragons, animated everything. What if that, Mia? What if that?
Ooh, that is a fun what if. That would be really cool. I would like to see it. I'm almost
I was going to ask, does that appeal to you?
Yeah, I'm wondering like would I want to see like a Clone Wars and kind of like 3D animation with it? Like would that be too much to ask for? Or would it look better as like 2D? Like I'm already like envisioning what this could be like.
Oh yeah. Well, like they did make all those like history and lore. I got a little image here, like history and lore features, and they basically made like a 40-minute basically House of the Dragon animated pilot episode. They included on one of the DVD Blu-rays, where I mean, like they were kind of like stills that moved a little bit, basically, but it was more like a real. I don't think it would look very good in CG, like because again, especially not at least not Clone Wars CG, because I mean, this show they're going to have sex and kill each other. Like it has to look I don't know, a little more graphic and a little more baroque or expressive.
Mm.
It'd look weird if it was like kitty cartoony, obviously, because it would be that sort of show.
Yeah, because I'm like looking at this kind of animation. That's not 3. I had to zoom in closer. I was thinking like for some reason the kind of stuff like the anime 3D video games came to mind. They didn't necessarily say this is anime, but I don't think I've seen 3D anime done outside of video games. So that's kind of I'm having all sorts of ideas now, I guess. So yeah, 2D would probably work. They had a great style. You get very creative with this.
You totally could. I mean, again, this probably isn't real at all, but it was interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know what this is. Why is the guy behind George R. Martin's all of his uh you know works on screen making a Song of Ice and Fire? I just don't know. The Works apparently is like a live event company, so maybe it's like Game of Thrones on Ice. That could be it. Or like it's some kind of like Game
Oh,
of Thrones circus show.
yeah. Yeah, I saw Jurassic Park live. It could be one of those things, except for it's just tamed down. You know, you bring the kids, you get some popcorn and cotton candy. I go see that
Is
too.
was that like one of those things at like Universal Parks or something where
No, this was
they like
like
acted it out?
yeah, this was like if you've ever seen like you said Disney on Ice or stuff, it was done in like that same arena, out All State Arena
Sure.
over here. And they had kind of like these big animatronic dinosaurs. They had actors, they had these little scenes and like a little, I guess it would be like a ring stage or something, and you would look onto it. It's hard to explain, but it was like a play, but with dinosaurs, man. So let's bring on some dragons, let them fly around me.
I'd watch that. I mean, I saw the Game of Thrones live concert experience. It didn't have any
Oh, that
dragons, but it
sounds
did have lots of
great.
pyrotechnics, green
Oh,
fire. Oh, it totally had like when the set blows up with all the green fire, it like had like big green shooting things. That was pretty
yeah.
cool. I'm sure they could do something. Wait until the kids see the red wedding scene. The Christian Hannah says, "Yeah, that would work." And yeah, it's true. Genny, I can't say the name, but Genny Tartakovsky famously did like the first kind of Clone Wars way back when in like a Samurai Jack style mission. That
Hmm.
always looked really, really good. There's ways
Yeah.
you could do it, absolutely. But again, right now I'm just curious what the hell that is because I don't know. And my mind is just sort of doing cartwheels, entertaining itself, and seeing if we can find something. If you have any ideas, let us know. Love to see a spoof of Game of Thrones, Julie Davies says. Yeah, I mean, there are there are a lot of unofficial ones out there, but nothing official. George R. R. Martin's idea for a series was do Game of Thrones, but like do it from the perspective of like randos on the street, like the one soldier or like the one peasant girl passing through, like while Cersei's Walk of Shame is happening, like what her day was like
Yeah.
was his idea. Seems a little high concept, I think, for HBO to sink a lot of money into,
That can
but dream
happen.
big.
I've got, if I go in my vault of books, they do that for Star Wars.
Of course, they do it for Star Wars. They have everything.
From a certain point of view, they've done this for Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope for the anniversaries. What it is it's stories literally told from people who are not the main characters, all within the movie universe, but literally from another point of view, from like, you know, like if I'm a mechanic or something like that, and I'm looking on at Luke Skywalker taking off. Totally doable. I love to see that.
I remember like reading some like interviews with authors about that book when it came out, and them saying like, "I was so honored to write the story of the mechanic who watched Luke Skywalker fly away," and I was like, "Are you lying? Like, do you? Is this like
Are you
you
kidding?
like
I
have
would
dreams
love.
of writing your own like
Listen,
trilogy of books, becoming an important author?" And then you couldn't. You had to take the money when Disney offered you like write the story of the mechanic who repairs Luke Skywalker's X-wing. You're like, yes, I'll do it.
no, no, no.
I
Listen,
wonder that sometimes.
when the Return of the Jedi book comes out for this, I want Disney, Lucasfilm, or Del Rey Books to come and contact me, and I will write about the
Okay.
janitor who was on the Death Star too. I am happy to write that story.
I mean, and Disney, you know they can pay pretty well, although I'm not sure if they'll give it to you. That's a whole other topic. Yeah, I mean, Disney will definitely do that. And if Game of Thrones ever kind of gets to that level, I'm sure will happen that too. A program seems actually, I could totally see us like Disney making a Star Wars show where it's just like, let's have an entire show about what Broom Boy was doing during the events of the sequel trilogy, something like that.
Broom Boy needs justice. That's a whole nother conversation.
It really is. Anyway, so that may or may not be happening. Very exciting. Our final topic is Amazon just earlier today released our first look at its upcoming Wheel of Time show. The first time we've actually seen an actor in like full hair and makeup doing something for literally 2 seconds, but it's there. Like so far they've released they've been really weird about this. They've released like little like voice clips, like 3 second, like 8 second voice clips. They released like, here's what one of the props looks like a video, 5 seconds of that. They done like a thing where like you saw a hand open a chest for like 3 seconds. They're like these little micro releases.
Yeah.
But they finally gave us a look at an actor in costume, hair, and makeup, saying a line, looking at the camera. It's Oscar nominee Rosamund Pike as the Aes Sedai sorceress Moiraine. Let's take 5 seconds and watch, shall we?
Do not underestimate the women in this tower.
It's a trailer. It's not a trailer. But I mean, so, okay, The Wheel of Time, big upcoming show. I'm interested in it because it is the most blatant we want a Game of Thrones follow-up show. But it's also one of the most promising because Wheel of Time, big old fantasy series back in the 90s. Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson wrote the when Robert Jordan died. Very, very respected, very, very beloved. Never got an adaptation for whatever reason. 14 damn books long. I'm on the 4th one now.
All right.
And they're getting to a point where they can release stuff. Now, I know that was 3 seconds, so I'm not going to like ask you what your reaction to it was. It was 3 seconds. But I mean, it's cool. So that is Moiraine. She's kind of like the Gandalf of this story. She like comes to the village and whisks the main characters off on an adventure, and they leave and they go into, and it just goes on from there. I think there she was tapping into the one power, kind of like the magic version of that world. Close eyes, open them, light. You know things are about to go down. You're just gonna throw a fireball or something at somebody. Someone's gonna get hurt, or do something nice. Again, nothing really to say because it's 3 seconds, but it looked good. It looked fantasy-y. Yeah. She has dark hair. That's a wig. Her hair's blonde.
Yeah. Yeah, I just noticed. It says, "Do not underestimate woman in this tower." What could the tower be referring to?
That is the White Tower of the Aes Sedai, where the ice. Okay. You know what? Why don't I just give you a really quick primer?
Yeah. I'm glad
and all of you watching. So, in the Wheel of Time, there is a thing called the One Power, which is like the source of magic, and I don't quite understand it, frankly. I am still reading the books, Julie. I'm 4 books in, and they dole out the information like slowly. Like they don't give you all the information up front. So there's still a lot I don't understand. It's the source of magic. You tap into it. Only women can use magic in this world because aeons ago, the male half of the One Power was tainted by the Dark One, who is a bad entity who we want to fight. So if a man tries to use magic, they inevitably go insane and must be stopped, which is bad because when you're insane and you can use magic, you can really cause a lot of trouble. So only women can do it. They're called Aes Sedai. They like their home base is the White Tower. They train other Aes Sedai there. And that's what they do. And they go out and they advise kings and rulers and influence things. And Moiraine is an Aes Sedai. Oh, really? The One Power is the female side and the true sources for the men? There's a difference? Okay, whatever. That's Corey. I didn't realize that. Well, the one is called the One Power. It's only one. Why isn't it for... Never mind. That's the deal with her. And she's an Aes Sedai. And again, like she is the Gandalf. She comes to the main characters live in this sleepy little village, the Shire, and she comes and takes them on their big adventure. That's how it all gets started.
That sounds
And
like
now
a
we
lot.
see a look at her. Good for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it does sound cool. I would like women doing magic. I like that premise. The 14 books, of course, that's not that's not so fun for me. But I mean, seeing it in a show seems really awesome. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely has potential to be huge. It could be there could be some stumbling blocks. Like the length is a stumbling block. I'll be honest too, like I'm reading 4 books in. It regarding like the women can use magic thing, it sort of comes off as the writings of a man who is trying to kind of do a feminist take on fantasy as much as he can, being who he is, being of a certain generation and writing in the early 90s. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Trying your best.
Like it's there, but like I mean, yeah, I give him credit, but like I don't know, it was written early, and he has all these. There's like a lot of moments where like the male characters are like, "Women, am I right?" It's a lot of like women be like this and men be like this, kind of like back and forth.
Yeah.
That
I wonder if
it sounds like he's trying to sell seriously, and it's every once in a while I'm like, this is odd. But written by someone in 2021, I'm sure you could like write around that stuff.
Exactly. I was gonna say the script writers have that advantage at least to be like, yeah, let's change that.
But I mean, it's obviously rich. It's full of stuff. It's got potential. Some of our comments here. Needs those clippers, says Corey. And as Julie says, yeah, found this a bit repetitive. I agree, Julie. They can get a bit repetitive, which is again why it'll be up to the showrunners and screenwriters to really finesse them and find the good stuff in there and like present it to us in a way that's entertaining and not get bogged down in some of the book's weirder aspects. But you know, that's coming. I would expect it this year probably. It seems like they're going along at a nice clip, and I wonder if a trailer's coming forthcoming. I mean, because they keep releasing these 3 damn seconds of footage, so maybe they actually will have enough eventually for a minute of actual strung together stuff.
Yeah, there's got to be enough there.
And yeah, that's about it. Any other thoughts y'all have, Mia, or anyone chatting? Any other topics you want covered? Any shows you're watching? Anybody out there, or anything new, Mia, or just watching the Snyder Cut? Up a lot of your time and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that was 4 hours. I read another book that got sent to me, a Marvel book.
Oh, cool.
I'm never reading normal books. It's always like some sort of Marvel or Star Wars. But Titan Books sent me Black Panther Tales of Wakanda. It's back there, so I don't feel like getting up. But this was an interesting book. It was a book based on like Black Panther, obviously, but it was an anthology of 18 stories. So one of the authors and the editor was Jesse J. Holland, who had wrote a previous Black Panther book. And you've got all these, as we like, kind of like we were talking about, like having these perspectives. We get like perspectives from the warrior Koye from the Dora Milaje, from Killmonger, from Shuri, but the caveat is it's based in the comic book lore. So it's like if you're unfamiliar with the comic books versus the movies, it might be a like tiny learning curve, but it's like they're still the same characters. So I really enjoyed that, getting to read stories like bringing in kind of the lore of Africa and the fictional country of Wakanda and all that. So I have a full review up on culturist.com over there in their book section. And I always like it when I get like some time to read and maybe not watch something for 4 hours.
Yeah, at least it's in your past. I'm gonna do that again.
Black Panther, Tales of Wakanda. What's Corey up to?
Tales of Wakanda. Watching Tribes of Europa on Netflix, which I heard was pretty good. It's like that. It's like Corey can tell me if I'm accurate here. It's like the past when everybody is kind of a warring tribes, but it's the future, post-apocalypse kind of deal, that sort of thing. Which is a hold on us. I'm still reading Fire and Blood. And I watched a lot of documentary series lately. Yeah. I'm gonna get into that Allen versus Pharaoh documentary series on HBO. There's a Tina Turner documentary coming up on HBO Max. Probably watch.
That's right.
It's pretty good. We just finished Leaving the Dale. There's this Samurai Warriors series I put on last night while I was answering emails on Netflix, and I kind of got sucked into that a little bit. So lots of that. And we'll be back next week with more of these musings, more reviews, more insights, more discussions, more news, more things you need to know, or more accurately, don't need to know, but will now know after you get them from us, because they are wantful and interesting and fun. Thanks so much, everybody. We are here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time here on the Winter is Coming Facebook page and the Winter is Coming YouTube channel. Feel free to comment. We love them. We love interacting with you guys. Feel free to listen to us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, wherever your podcasts are available. And we will see you very soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.